As a part-time podcaster, you may not really be willing to invest a lot of money in software and tools to get your show on the road because you don't know whether it's going to succeed. You may not have the money, frankly, to do this, and you may not have the time to learn a lot of difficult, complicated, professional level software. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the most important things that you need and which of these you can actually get for free, or at least in a freemium model, so you aren't investing a lot of money upfront. So let's dive in. Now, in terms of software, you actually need 4 things. The first thing is something where you will record your podcast or a YouTube channel into. So you need some recording software. The second thing that you need is editing tools. So something that you're going to use to cut your content and make it look nice and sound nice and be something that people really want to listen to versus the raw footage, which is full of mistakes and doesn't really look or sound all that great. The third thing that you need is something where you can design assets. And you need this because once you release your show, you will need some form of design tool to create your artwork, your thumbnails, your social media assets, things that you want to share around with people. So some sort of a design tool is required. And finally, another very important thing is that you need a hosting solution, particularly if you have an audio podcast. If you're doing video, it's straightforward. Create a YouTube channel, upload your videos, you're done. But for audio, you actually can't just go to Spotify or Apple and try to create a channel there and upload your content. You actually need a distribution tool, and we'll talk more about that. So let's talk first about recording. Now there are different levels of complexity over here. The easiest is if you're doing an audio recording and which is all by yourself. So it's a solo show. That's pretty easy. Plug headphones into your phone, open the voice notes app that you have on your phone, record into it. Just make sure that you're getting a decent quality recording. Now, what happens if you're recording with someone? So you're trying to interview someone, which is quite common. And so for that, you might think that you could use something like Zoom. So you're always doing calls on Zoom. Why not also just interview your guest, turn on recording, and then you have it? And that's true. Actually, you can do that. You can actually even turn on your video and get some sort of video as well. However, there are a few limitations here. Zoom is free, but the free version is 40 minutes. If your discussion is going to be anything close to 40 minutes or longer, which by the way, a lot of material tends to be, even if the final content is going to be shorter. So with its 40-minute limitation, Zoom does create a bit of a challenge for someone trying to record audio. The other thing is that Zoom is really meant more for live discussion. It's not really a recording tool. And so therefore, the recordings that you get may not be as good as they should be for nice looking and sounding show. And that's because Zoom records to the cloud. So if your internet is not perfect on all sides, like you as well as the guest, you will see issues with the audio, with the video and so on. And of course, like when you're doing a Zoom recording, people typically have their laptop camera, they're looking down at it, etc. So even overall, it doesn't really give a great impression. So therefore, for recording, we would recommend that you use software that is designed for online recordings of podcasts. And there are several like this. The one that we use is called Riverside. There are others. There is Zencaster, there is StreamYard, Quadcast, and so on. And most of them have a freemium plan. And for free, you should be able to get 1 or 2 hours worth of recording, which is adequate for most of your requirements. The beauty of these tools is that they record usually locally to your device and then upload in the background. And so therefore, your internet related issues and all don't really happen. And because they're optimized for online recordings, they have a whole bunch of features that just make it easier, better, more convenient for the guest, and so on and so forth. Plus, when you're using a specialized tool, your guests also feel like coming in looking a little bit better. They might dress nicer. They might keep the camera a little, better. They might sit somewhere that looks nice and so on. So you might actually get some soft benefit out of using them as well. Now let's get to editing. There are many free tools available for editing. If you have a Mac, you have GarageBand most likely, and GarageBand is a free and actually very good audio editing tool. Otherwise, if you have some other device, you can always download Audacity, or actually many other audio editing tools which are available usually for free or for a very small amount or in some sort of freemium model. We use a tool called Descript, which has been around for a couple of years now, I think. Descript makes it just a lot easier for you to do your editing because rather than looking at little squiggly waveforms, it gives you an auto transcript, and when you edit the transcript, you're also simultaneously editing the video and the audio. And that is very easy versus trying to learn an audio editing tool. So we would wholeheartedly recommend Descript, or if there's anything else similar to that. It has a freemium model, and so you'll get, I think, 1 or 2 hours of recording on the free subscription. Third thing is design. Now, as we mentioned, you do need some sort of a design tool to create your podcast artwork, your YouTube thumbnail, your social media assets, and so on. And what better freemium tool than Canva? So the free version of Canva already has a lot of templates, a lot of freely available stock assets in it. It gives you a lot of podcast related templates as well, and YouTube thumbnails and things like that. So just take what looks good to you, edit it, and you're good to go. If you feel like you want a greater variety of templates and stock and stuff, you can pay for the premium version of Canva. But frankly, for a part-time podcaster running one channel, I actually think you're just fine on the free version. And lastly, we talked about hosting. Now, YouTube is free, so you can just upload your video and it's all fine. But if you're doing an audio show, you need to upload to a hosting platform. And there are many, many hosting platforms. I would say 80-90% of the features are pretty much the same between them. Many of them have freemium plans. The one that we use is called Transistor. The reason we use it is because you can put multiple shows on one account, which is important to us because we are an agency and we need to manage many, many different shows. But for you as an individual podcaster, there is a permanently free solution. It's a hosting platform called Anchor.fm, which actually has been acquired by Spotify. So it's called Spotify for podcasters. So you can just go there, create an account, upload your content, and you're done. You will never have to pay for it. And that tool will take care of distributing to Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and so many other places that people typically listen to podcasts. Go ahead, create an account there, and you'll be just fine. So that's it. We discussed the 4 different kinds of software that you need, some suggestions for which ones you could use. For most of these, you really wouldn't have to pay, at least initially. Once you become a little bit bigger, little bit more frequently recording and stuff like that, yes, you will need to start paying. But at that point, you're probably at a place where you don't mind paying a few bucks here or there anyway. But in the meantime, this is how you can get started for free. I hope this was useful to you. This was Amit with the Part-Time Podcaster. We'll see you next time.